None of that. But something you forgot. See, everybody's forgotten something. You left it out. Just missed it. See? And so I can bring this out, what you've forgotten, if I ask you, who are you? Well, you say, I'm Paul Jones, or whatever your name happens to be. I say, oh, no. Don't give me that stuff. Who are you, really? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
5, 4,
Who are
3,
you, really?
2, 1. Pat Milano.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, but we have a lot to talk about.
That we do.
You're wearing a Guardians hat. That's
I am.
that's one of the brighter spots of what we need to bring up. But I want to get the bad shit out of the way first.
Yeah, let's do it. Do what we gotta do here.
So the wonderful, the unanimously loved commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred,
The greatest of all time.
Seriously, like, who's Bud Selig? We got Rob Manfred, who is proposing some new changes to baseball.
Yeah. I mean,
Trying to make the game exciting for all the people who don't like baseball.
basically, all these changes he's brought into play. A lot of them were made official today. But now he comes up with this playoff format, this updated playoff format, which just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get it.
So for the people listening at home, Pat, could you tell them what this new proposed playoff format will be?
So I actually had to read up on it a couple times to really understand it because it was very confusing to me. All right, so National League, American League, the top 7 teams would make a playoff. So it would be the 3 division winners and essentially 4 wild cards. The team with the best record gets an automatic first round bye, and then the way the remaining teams would work is on the last day of the season, the last day of the regular season, they have a plan to do almost like a selection show, like a selection Sunday, where the remaining top 3 teams would get to pick their opponent of the bottom 3. So, like, an example that they came up with was, let's say we take how last year's American League playoff situation worked. Astros had the best record. They would have had a bye. Then you had the Yankees, I'm going to be drawing a blank on a couple of them right now. Anyways.
So good. But go on.
Yeah, it was like Yankees, Rays, Athletics, whatever it may be. The Yankees would be a 2 seed. They get to pick between the 4, 5, and 6, whoever one of those teams were. So essentially they could have picked the number 6 seed. Then the 3 seed gets to pick between the 4 and 5, and then whoever is left play each other.
So you almost kind of have like a schoolyard bully kind of thing.
Yeah, and it would be a 3-game series compared to no more 1-game.
That's probably the part I hate the most, by the way.
And here's why it doesn't make sense necessarily, because now you got to wait out a potential of 3 games. I get it might be, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like, it could be 3 consecutive days, but that's also 3 consecutive days that the first round bye team has to sit and wait to get an idea of who they might be playing. It just...
That's not how baseball works. It's a marathon. You have to keep playing or you get cold.
Yeah. It's all about staying hot at the right time. I don't really like the idea of having a bye in baseball. It never really crossed my mind before. I mean, I get, like, football, it like works the way they just have the divisions and everything lined up.
And byes are written into the regular season of football.
Yeah, exactly. But it just doesn't make sense. And another reason why I'm not a big fan of it is now you're expanding it to 7 teams in each league. Which, all right, you're trying. He basically what Manfred is trying to do. He's trying to incentivize, trying to win and not tank, because now you have more of an incentive to make the playoffs. But you're also rewarding mediocrity. Like, you don't have to be. All you have to do is aim to be one of the top 7 teams in the league. And they did, like, I remember seeing a bunch of, like, stats and tweets.
Just to intervene for a second, do you know how many more years the New York Mets would have made the playoffs?
They would have made it. They would have made it last year. They would have made it
2007, 2008.
They would have made it. Yep.
Yeah, many years. And, like, I'm not saying that's a good thing.
No.
Those teams didn't deserve to make the playoffs.
Exactly. That's the thing. You want to, the way it is now, it's, especially the way they have the wild card game now, which only
I
came
actually
into play.
I actually love the wild card game.
I used to not be a fan of it, then I really started thinking.
Because I think that's the antithesis of what you brought up, where this new rule is like rewarding mediocrity. The wild card incentivizes you to win your division.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at in there. You get 2 wild card teams. The only reason that they're in is because they were second best or third best, whatever it may be. You want to win the division so you don't have to play in that wild card game. And a wild card game, you shouldn't get a 3-game series, in my opinion. You're in it because that's how the rules dictate it to be.
Yep.
You don't have to be in it. Back then, a couple of years ago, before 2012, when the 1-game wild card came into play, it was one wild card team, and then he's going to play the division winner who had the best record.
Yep.
I mean, even there, they were getting off lucky because they got a 5-game series out of it. Now, 1-game series to decide between 2 top wildcard teams. I initially didn't like it at first, but I started to like every game. 163 has been amazing
because it's all on the line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. Like even 2016 when the Mets had that wildcard game against the Giants. Heartbreaking loss as it was, but it got you
was
pumped.
A fun
it was
game.
Like, all right, let's go. I mean, it was a pitcher's duel up until like the 9th inning when Jerry Smealy blew it, but yeah, cough. But it's an exciting game. You want to watch it, and those teams, they didn't win the division, so they don't deserve additional games to prove that they should be in it. 1 game is good. Look at what the Nationals did. They came in on a wild card and they ran the table and they won the World Series last year. I don't want to see a 7-seed team who probably doesn't even deserve to be there in the first place.
Some 7-seed teams are barely above 500.
Yeah, that was another stat. That was another stat.
What are we doing here? A team with 82 wins is going to win? Like, no. I'm not a fan of this.
No,
I'm really not a fan of this.
The best part about the playoffs is exclusivity. Best teams, division winners, the 2 wild cards play each other, and then that's it. That's your field. I don't like expanding it to 7 teams. The format just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and I feel like it takes away some of that exclusivity that baseball had. Like all these other sports, like basketball especially, half the league's getting into the playoffs. And you know what? Fine. That works for them. Doesn't seem to be hurting the NBA's numbers.
Yeah.
But the thing that, like you said, that makes baseball so great is like you have 162 games to be in the top 3 of your league. Or else you have to play a 1-game playoff to see if you get in.
Yep.
It's so exclusive. You have to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
But now, like you said, that goes away.
Look, the only thing that I would say is the next time that you do any kind of playoff format adjustment or change or anything like that, it should only occur when we get some expansion teams. We go to 32 teams, and then at that point, you're probably going to have to do some division realignment, or maybe even get rid of divisions altogether and just do American League, National League, and then just take the top 6 teams in each league and then, have them go at it or something like that. I don't know.
No, I agree with you on that. If they were to do something like this, it would have to be because the league is expanding. But if you ask me, and tell me what you think about this, I almost think the league could afford to get rid of a few teams.
Well, that's the...
Florida should not have a team. They're not running those teams well.
And the statements that have been made is that there's not going to be any expansion until Tampa Bay and Oakland get set stadium deals, which they're really not. They're in talks, but it doesn't seem like it's happening for either team. I mean, Tampa is going to be playing half its home games in Montreal this upcoming year.
That's
I mean,
so
at that
ridiculous.
point, just move to Montreal. They still have a fan base. They want a
They
baseball
want the
team
Expos back.
They
Doesn't
want
have to
a team
be the
back.
Expos, but
Yeah.
they want their team back.
MLB owns Expos logo and everything, so
All the IP, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna. It would be the Expos if they decide to move it, and it's crazy. Basically, hands down, no change to playoffs. Leave it as it is. As long as we have 30 teams, it works. If we expand to 32, then we can talk. But until then, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm with you 100%. And it's like, I'm not anti-change the game. We can make changes to the game to make the game better. Like, I like that we have I actually do like that we have challenges now. That we can challenge foul balls or challenge home runs. That's good. I think that's good for baseball. The 1-game wildcard playoff, good for baseball. But now we're just getting ridiculous. We're trying to speed up the game. There's a limited amount of mound visits. There's it just doesn't seem right to me. It's like they're trying to turn baseball into not baseball.
It comes back to Manfred is trying to pander to an audience that right now doesn't care while alienating its current fan base. But the problem is you don't want to make changes to try and get people attracted. You know what gets people attracted? Marketing. Be able to market your players. Be able to have people log on to YouTube and be able to see the great content that we might see on a daily basis. Trevor Bauer, pitcher for the Reds. This is, if you follow him on Twitter, if you go on Twitter, he does this stuff all the time. He's constantly going at Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball in general. He's basically saying the way we get our fans back is by showing, and we discussed this the last time I was on. I know it's been a while, but basically market your players better. Get rid of, don't have cable blackouts. There are people in California who may be rooting for New York teams that they can't watch otherwise.
Correct.
Because of the blackouts.
Or maybe they just want to watch. Maybe they're just fans of baseball.
Exactly. And that's the stuff that needs to be corrected before you go worrying about changing the rules of the game. The rules of the game right now are fine. You need to market better.
You're 100% right.
The NFL
market
knows
the
how to
individuals.
market.
Market the individuals.
Exactly. NFL knows how to market. NBA knows how to market.
What happened? Because I feel like baseball, and here's the thing, I can't speak for Rob Manfred and the MLB, but the MLB's not hurting. There are some clubs like the White Sox and the Rays that are hurting, but Major League Baseball as a corporation is not hurting. These big market teams and even the middle market teams are doing very well.
Yeah.
Very well. Look at the contracts some of these guys are getting now. Yes, some of the small market teams are struggling, like I said, like the White Sox. But it's not like baseball's going broke.
No.
It's still one of the top 3 sports in the country.
Last year they netted, I think it was close, if not over $10 billion.
Yeah, what are we talking about here? What do we have? Greedy owners who just want a transfer of wealth? What are we doing?
That's the thing.
More playoffs, more TV deals?
Owners didn't want to spend. This offseason's been, compared to previous offseasons, this offseason has been pretty, the hot stove has been off. It's been going off. But I get it. That's what people think. The owners are not looking to spend. They don't want to go over that luxury tax and have to pay the additional, percentage that they would be over. I want to
ask you what happened, because Major League Baseball used to be incredible about what we were talking about earlier, the ability to market your players. We think about the players we grew up with, right? Whether we're talking about the Ken Griffey Jr.'s or whether we're talking about the Mike Piazzas or the Derek Jeters.
You want to know the funny thing? It seems like marketing has gotten worse since social media came into play.
That's so weird. That's so ass backwards.
Exactly.
That's so ass. Well, what do you think it is? Are they like?
I think it's the content.
Are players withheld from tweeting certain things?
No,
posting
we've seen guys
Grandy.
do it.
Grandy was amazing when he was at the Mets. His Instagram, we follow Lucas Duda. It was fucking hilarious.
I think the
league should have been putting that on the forefront of their entire image.
I agree. I think the problem is MLB. They have they don't allow others to take and control their content. Everything has to be MLB. Otherwise, they copyright absolutely everything. So we
were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, a lot of independent sports bloggers or anything like that, they can just talk about it but it's tough for them to get actual MLB footage and stuff. MLB doesn't want, if it's not their video, they don't
want it getting out.
Basically. They want their name on every single piece of content.
That's so strange to me, because all you're doing is what social media enables is that the fans can do the marketing for you.
Exactly. Think about how much more marketing they would do when you have guys, all these top sports bloggers and video podcast guys and everything like that on Twitter, on Instagram, everything like that, YouTube. They have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They're diehard baseball fans. Use them to your advantage.
Yeah, you should be inviting them into the clubhouse.
Exactly.
Give them clubhouse passes.
Exactly.
Let them interview some of the players, because you're 100% right. That's I think it's a media thing. I actually think it's in a way kind of bigger than the MLB, because it's really old media trying to cling to what they have left.
Yeah.
Because the people who do get to, whether we're talking about locally, the New York Post or Newsday or New York Times, they have these exclusive passes to get into the Yankees clubhouse, to get in the Mets clubhouse. If they start letting John Boy media in the clubhouse, they lose footing. They lose ground, because whose piece are you going to read? New York Times or John Boy Media?
Exactly.
Who's he going to read? You're going to read John Boy Media, because that guy, he's a little bit more authentic. People are able to interact with him more.
He's a fan.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's almost like a threat of old guard versus new guard, where old media, what would you call it, legacy media, is clinging to the exclusivity that they have left within the MLB, because it seems to be gone from other leagues, right? The NBA is not having a problem with this.
I don't think so.
The NFL,
but again, they do better marketing in terms of their players and such.
Well, it's easier for the NBA because it's just less players.
Yeah.
in play. Like there's 5 on a court at a time, where baseball there's 9 per team. But I don't know. It's very strange.
Ultimately, it comes down to this. Rob Manfred, you're looking at the wrong stuff. If you want to market better, you want to get more fans, don't worry about changing the rules. Change the way we perceive players. We can see the players. We can see the content. That needs to be changed first before you go ahead and change the rule. Rules are fine. Change everything else.
And I don't think the MLB's way to make more money is by bringing in new fans. I think the MLB's way to make money is to get you and I to spend more money on them.
Yep.
Get you and I into the ballpark.
Well, it's important to get
you
new
and I
fans.
to buy Alonso jerseys. Yeah. Get you and I to do the spending. You don't have to get new people. You have thousands of fucking fans across the whole country, millions even.
Well, I think it's important to get new fans, but you don't push out the fans that have been there from the start.
The new fans are kids.
Yeah.
And that's something the Mets do incredibly well. You know, as a franchise, say what you will about
a lot of franchises do very well when it comes to.
And that's your new fan. That's your new fan.
That's how we came in.
It's a legacy sport.
Yeah,
you pass it on to your children. You don't need to get the guys who like hockey. The people who like hockey hate fucking baseball. I'm generally speaking.
Yeah.
You know, you're a hockey fan. You love baseball, but you know what I mean.
Baseball for hockey. Yeah,
exactly. But you have sports elitists. You know, people who watch the NBA, people who love the NBA, they're not necessarily watching the MLB, and you're not going to get them to.
No.
You're not going to get a 35-year-old man watching the Clippers to suddenly become a huge diehard Dodgers fan just because the playoff format is different.
No,
that's not how this shit works.
Oh, so you're saying 7 teams? I'm in. Sign me up. No one's going to be like that. If anything's going to be like, wait, that doesn't make sense. It's just, it's ass backwards is what it is. Stop changing the rules. Worry about marketing. Worrying about making sure people know who your players are.
Let me know what you think of this. You know what one thing I would change about the playoff format is? Make the division series 7 games.
No, I kind of like it being at 5.
And that's fair, but wouldn't that just sit easier with you? What if that was the news? Would that sit easier with you?
That would sit easier with me. But I kind of like the division at 5 series.
Well, let me ask you why. Because I feel like in baseball, 7 is the perfect number to figure out who is the better team. Whereas, like, we've seen it in series of 7 where one team might go up 3-1, but that team will make a comeback and win. But if that was a 5-game set, it's done.
My two favorite words when it comes to playoff baseball is Game 7. I mean,
but doesn't that speak to my point a little bit?
But not for the division series though, like championship series. Because division series, you're not trying to clinch a pennant, you're not trying to clinch a World Series. You're just trying to clinch a spot in the next. Round.
It's all. I guess you're right. It's almost sort of.
So like game 7 division series, I'm like, all right, cool. But the next step for them is just trying to win.
I guess so, right? Because you don't get to take a title home when you win the division series. You don't. There's nothing.
I like championship series, World Series. Keep that 7 games. Division series, I think it's perfect at 5 games.
I disagree, but I respect that opinion. You made a very good point. You made a very good point.
I respect your opinion.
All right. So enough about Manfred.
Yeah.
I spoke to Scott a lot on the last podcast about this, so I don't really want to get into it. The Mets have been just an abysmal PR wave this entire offseason, but I want to pick it up and I want to talk about how this is a good fucking roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're a Mets fan, forget everything that's fucking happened in the last few months. This is an exciting team. This is a young team, and I know you wanted Rojas from the beginning, didn't you?
All right.
You wanted Rojas as manager. Let's start there. Let's start with Rojas, and let's move on to this roster.
I would have preferred an experienced manager like a Buck Showalter or
Girardi.
Girardi was my number 1.
Me too.
When it came down to Beltran being one of the finalists, I liked that because I think they wanted to get someone who we knew.
It's a legacy Met.
Yeah, basically. But I was also looking when it got time to the finalists and all that. It come about Luis Rojas. I knew him, quality control coach, has been with the organization. I looked further
big analytical guy.
Yeah, looked further into his background and everything. Guy's been with the organization since 2007. He's managed at 2 or 3 different minor league levels, so he does have managing experience. Not necessarily big league, but managing. But the biggest thing that I am confident with him, not one player has said one negative thing about him. It has been nothing but great pick. No,
the players love him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, players are absolutely head over heels in love with Luis Rojas, and I think they're gonna play for him. And I think he has their respect. They have confidence in him, and I think that's going to be important. And I think he's going to do a good job. I mean, I don't think he could be any worse in terms of attitude or the way he carry himself than Mickey Callaway. Mickey Callaway always kind of seemed like, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Luis Rojas looks like he's gonna be like, we sucked, but we're gonna come back. We're gonna do, we're gonna pick it up because this is not how we play. We know we're better than this. Mickey is kind of like, yeah, all right, whatever. Mickey was good. He's a good pitching coach. Some guys just can't be managers. Luis Rojas, I think, has.
Yeah, Mickey doesn't. It's always an it factor, right? It's always, and Mickey was just lacking it. And I think, I think one thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I get the vibe from Rojas that if a player isn't performing, it doesn't matter how much money they make. It doesn't matter what they think their position on the team is. If a player is not performing, they will be replaced by a player who does. Now, this is a team that's managed by the front office. Let's be honest about that. But I guess what I'm saying is Rojas would be the voice where, say Rojas was the manager last year, and after Diaz's 9th blown fucking save, I feel like Rojas would be the type of guy to maybe try and talk to the front office and say, like, hey, I'm not saying can him, but maybe he should go to the 8th inning.
Yeah.
And maybe Lugo should go in the 9th.
Exactly. I think he's going to be that kind of guy.
I think he's that kind of guy.
I hope that the front office gives him the freedom,
the liberty,
and let him do what he's got to do because he knows these players, and I think that's only going to be beneficial. Like trying to control the lineup from the front office is not. I know it's the way a lot of teams go nowadays, but you got to let the baseball minds do what they got to do.
If your ass isn't on the bench, what do we got to talk about?
Yeah.
If your ass isn't on the field, what do we got to talk about? If your cleats aren't dirty, what do we got to talk about?
And this all comes back to every Met fan's hatred for Jeff Wilpon. Every Met fan hates Jeff Wilpon. And the reason for that is he thinks he's a baseball mind. He thinks he's a player. He thinks he's a coach. He thinks he's a scout. You are an owner. You hire the player. You hire the scout. You hire the coach. You hire the manager. You sign their checks and you sit back and do nothing. Is what you're supposed to do. Stop trying. You hired these baseball minds. Let them do what you hired them to do.
Well, I agree with you 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. But you know what an owner should be doing? Marketing his players.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
How do I get these dads to bring their kids to the ballpark?
How can I get them in the
stadium? What promotions should we be doing? Mm-hmm. Who's the up and coming star? When's David Wright Day?
Yep.
Those are the kinds of things an owner should be doing. An owner should not have any say in the lineup or any.
No.
It's just asinine. And look, we can.
I mean,
this is our 3rd podcast, and I'm pretty sure every podcast we've taken a giant dump on Jeff Wilpon. I hope that never changes.
He deserves
I hope that
it.
never, even when he's gone, I hope we still shit on this.
Oh no, he will still be shown. But
this is something.
He's the reason we don't have a new owner right now.
Well, yeah, because he's a fucking. I want to sell the team, but I still want to have control of it. So you see, Pat, I'm going to sell you my house, but I'm still living in it.
I love that analogy.
I'm going to sell you my car, but I get to drive it on weekends.
That's the basic analogy I came in. So, for those who don't know, I'm sure a lot of people do. Cohen was supposed to buy the Mets. He was all set. Then Jeff Wilpon comes in with a new demand. Hey, I still want to be in charge for the 5 years. And I also want an extended salary. And when it's all said and done, when you're full owner, I still want to be part of the baseball operations team. That is like buying a house, but the current tenant still lives in the master bedroom, and he uses your money to buy groceries.
His groceries.
Yeah.
You're eating for dinner what he wants, bitch.
Yep, exactly.
Dude.
Like, does that make any sense in the real world? No, it doesn't. But...
Dude, but here's my thing. And we could bitch about Wilpon all we want, and this is something I said with Scott on too. It's like, even with Wilpon, the Mets have had chances to bring home a championship. And that's what Wilpon wants. Yep. I really don't think he's going till he wins a championship, because I'll tell you what he's afraid of. He's afraid of selling this team.
And they win right away.
And they win, not even right away. Just whenever they do win. It's like, we did it because we got rid of him.
Do it despite him.
Exactly. It's like no matter it's a legacy thing. Yeah. If he owns the team, that's why he wanted it for the next 5 years, because this team is built to win in the next 5 years.
Because he'll be using Cohen's money to do what he wants to do.
Exactly.
Rather than them putting up the money themselves.
And this team is built to win in the next 5 years. So it's a legacy thing. He wants to win the championship so then he can walk away and say, I was a championship owner.
We'd still say fuck you.
We'd still say fuck you because you didn't play the fucking game, bitch. Okay?
It's going to be a fun summer at Citi Field because you are going to see a lot of people. You're going to see a lot of people getting kicked out of games for wearing sell the team t-shirts. Fuck Wilpon. You're going to see a lot of people get kicked out of Citi Field this year.
Beautiful.
I know.
Beautiful.
I love it.
We will cheer them on their way out.
I can't wait to see.
Standing ovations on their way out. They got to sell the team.
Yeah.
The fans don't like them. We've never liked them.
No.
And even when we win Jeff Wilpon, it won't be because of you.
Mm-hmm.
We're still going to talk shit on you.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to say if it weren't for you, we'd have 3 championships in our lifetime instead of goose egg. You know? It's just nonsense. But hold on. Let's back this up.
Yeah,
let's back this up. Let's talk about this fucking team.
Let's do it. Let's talk.
One of the youngest teams in baseball. Between the pitching staff, the new rising stars in Alonso and McNeil, and who knows, maybe even J.D. Davis, wherever the fuck that guy came from. I like that Jeff McNeil's going to be playing third now. That should have been the case a long time ago. I'm excited. Like I'm really upset at the way this offseason's gone with all this press and PR. But this is an exciting team. Like Mets fans should be amplified at what's coming.
Everything that has happened negatively has been off the field issues. But once we get down to it, the Mets do have a very good baseball team, and so do the Yankees. And I really hope both teams are good this summer.
New York baseball is at its best when both teams are competitive.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing. We'll go back to Rouse in a second.
Yeah.
One thing the MLB needs to bring back, where's our Subway Series? What the fuck happened?
Yeah,
What
I
the
agree.
fuck happened? We used to get 3 in each ballpark.
Now it's a 2-2, and they're not even back and forth. That ruins.
Nonsense.
I don't like the scheduling on
Nonsense.
that.
Fix that. Fix that, Manfred.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, dude. I mean, there's a little part of me that's scared about sustained success. It's like, don't hurt me, Alonso.
This is
don't hurt me.
This is kind of what I went into in my my articles that I just recently posted online. I have begun my season predictions for the 6 divisions.
I definitely agreed with your NL East assessment.
Thank you.
I think you're on the money. I think the Mets get 90 and not 89, which is what you gave them.
Yeah, so I mean, we can discuss that a little bit more. But basically, for those who haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, please log online to theendofthebench.com and take a look at my personal MLB 2020 predictions for the AL East and the NL East. We'll start with the Mets, and basically, some people might call me crazy, but I have the Mets finishing second with 89 wins. I don't necessarily think they can break 90. I think 89 is a good number for them right now, and I'll explain a little bit more. I got them winning 89 wins and a second wild card berth. Now, the problem that the Mets have had over the last several years is they get off to a really hot start for a good, 2-3 weeks. Then they completely shit the bed for a month, and then they end the season like amazing. Last year, the second half
was incredible.
And the other thing about that is, within that month that they were terrible, you had Diaz blowing saves. A lot of guys were not living up to what they needed to do. They lost 20 plus games because they couldn't hold on to a lead. If they can just sustain one consistent year, you're gonna have slumps. Don't let it be a month long. Everyone's gonna have those slumps. I think that with the roster that they have and the bullpen that they now have, I'll just stay off with the bullpen. Diaz is not going to be awful this year. I really don't think he is. He's been working with Pedro Martinez all offseason to work on his mechanics, get his slider back. And even the second half last year, his slider was pretty good too. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I think Familia has a bounce back year. Seth Lugo is the best arm in that bullpen right now.
I think he'll be the closer one day. If not mid-year when Diaz starts
I know there was speculation about before they signed Porcello and Waka, also pretty good pickups. Before they signed him, they wanted to put Lugo in the rotation. I didn't like that.
No.
His career numbers are very similar between starter and reliever. But in terms of like starts and innings pitched, but his stats, ERA, WHIP, strikeout, everything like that, he's a reliever. And that's not a knock on him. He right now is one of the best relievers in baseball. MLB Network agreed with that. They named him like 6th on the top 10 relievers.
I actually believe that if Seth Lugo was the closer last year, we make the playoffs.
They might. Yeah. I mean, then you have Justin Wilson, very formidable left hand out of the bullpen, and you have the signing of Dellin Betances. So I think they will have one of the top bullpens in the league. A lot of analysts think that they have the best bullpen in the league. I don't know if I'd go that far yet, but definitely up there in terms of potential.
At least top 10.
Yeah.
At least top 10.
In terms of the offense, you have Alonso, you have Conforto, you have McNeil. If J.D. Davis and Dom Smith even just get half the reps that we think they're going to get, we know that what they can do at the bat. Hopefully, J.D. Davis wasn't an anomaly this past year. Hopefully, he can sustain that success. You hopefully get a healthy Brandon Nimmo back. I think the sky is the limit. I think they have the potential to be there. And we know what the rotation looks like. DeGrom, he's going to be aiming for a third Cy Young in 3 years. You just got to hope that Syndergaard and Matz finally live up to what we had anticipated.
Who we know they are.
Stroman, I think, is going to have a good year for us.
I think so, too.
And I think a lot of people may be crazy, but I actually like the 1-year flyer on Porcello and Rocca. Both guys, Porcello was a Cy Young winner not too long ago. All he's got to do is get his mind right, and who knows, we could have another amazing year, as is Waka.
Here's my thing. I feel like with the number 5 starter, you can always take a chance on a guy.
Exactly.
Because it's your number 5 starter.
Exactly.
Worst case scenario, there's probably a guy in the minors you can call up that can pitch 170 innings and give you a 4.2 ERA.
Yeah.
Which for a 5 starter is adequate.
I think they have the potential. A lot of people might call me crazy when I say it, but I have them at 89 wins. They finished at 86, I believe, last year. I think 89 is formidable, but it's going to be tough in that division. Pacoda,
the division's
baseball,
really tough.
This was crazy, though. Baseball Prospectus comes out with their annual projections of what they had. They had the Mets winning the NL East, but with 88 wins. All right, 1, I don't think they're going to win the East. And 2, even if they were, 88 wins is not going to do it. Not in that division. Not with how good the Braves have been. The Phillies continue to add pieces and become better. The Nationals just came off of a World Series win. I don't think they're going to come close to that repeat personally because they let Anthony Rendon walk. Basically, he was their biggest bat. So now they got to rely heavily on Juan Soto and Trey Turner. They still have the pitching, which is good, but the offense is a little down.
I just want to make a note. I think Juan Soto is one of the most exciting players to watch in baseball.
I want to make a bold prediction right now.
Go ahead.
Juan Soto MVP 2020.
I wouldn't be surprised. I love the way this guy fucks with pitchers.
Oh, yeah.
He fucks with them.
He's having fun.
Constantly. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I like.
And that's why he plays so well, too. But moving on.
Yeah. He's my bold prediction. Well, maybe not too bold. I think a lot of people have that potential for him, but I have him as my when that time comes making those predictions. We got a while until then, but he's front runner for me for NL MVP this upcoming year. Moving over to the AL East, the Yankees are going to run away with this division
easily.
Easily.
They have out the Sox just shipped Mookie Betts off. Oh my God! This is the Yankees division to lose, man.
Yanks fans, you guys are gonna have a good summer in the Bronx, but
wish we had that division right now.
The over/under for them was 101 wins, 101.5. I had them at 106.
106.
Yeah, I got them at 106.
Whoa!
Yeah. I know I'm crazy. You might think I'm crazy when I say that, but
why? You think they're just gonna completely beat up on their own division?
Absolutely. I think they're just gonna. They're the aside from maybe the Twins. They have the unfortunately like the Astros, which whatever. Yeah. They had the best offense, I think, or at least they had the best offensive potential. Judge, Stanton, Voit, Urshela, LeMahieu, Torres, and you're hopefully getting Miguel Andujar back, who's now going to DH. So you're not taking one bat out of the lineup in Urshela to put in another bat. Now you're getting both of them. And you're still keeping the good glove of Urshela has at third base. So, and you have Sanchez, obviously. I don't think it's crazy to think 106 wins. Personally,
106 is crazy.
And you get Garrett Cole to lead that rotation, and Luis Severino hopefully comes back healthy. Tanaka, Paxton, unfortunately, I think he's going to miss the first couple of months of the season. But that's why they also have Happ still, and I think they're also going to be getting Jordan Montgomery back. Who's their young lefty as well. And that bullpen, come on.
Lights out.
Chapman, Ottavino, Canely, Britton.
As
Green.
long as no one's tipping off their signs, they'll be just fine.
All you really got to do is have your starter go 5-6 innings and let the bullpen take care of it. I don't see why. Yankee fans might love me, but they might hate me because now maybe I jinxed them.
Maybe you jinxed them.
Knock on wood.
I want to fight you. I actually want to fight you on the 89 prediction because you're right. The Mets won 86 games last year. So here's what I'll say. If all those bats perform the way they performed last year, and if the starters can, for the most part, perform the way they performed last year, with this new bullpen, I think they can win 95. I think the Braves still win the division. I agree with you on that. I think the Braves are the best team in the National League East. But I think the Mets can do this because think about it. How many games did we blow in the ninth inning?
Oh, too many. I don't even want to
ballpark it for me. Go ahead.
anywhere
Ballpark.
between 15 and 20, maybe.
Let's
maybe
be
not in the
conservative.
not saying ninth inning, but late inning leads.
Let's be conservative and let's say it's 15.
Okay.
Let's say we lost 15 games that we should have won. Now, look, some of those games are going to get away from you no matter what you do. Let's say 8 instead of 15 this year
So
with
that
this
puts
new
them
bullpen.
around
96.
Yeah, roughly.
You know, oh wait, no,
94.
94. Yeah. That's kind of where my head's at with this team.
Well, that's where my head was at in terms of making the rankings, but I still got to put the Braves first.
I agree with you. No,
Like-
Braves. I really do believe the Braves, if not the best team in the East, might be the best team in the National League.
Dodgers, man.
You think it's gonna be the Dodgers?
Well, yeah, they just got fucking Mookie
I know
Betts,
they just
so.
got. I know they just got Mookie Betts. And listen, let's not knock on David Price either.
No, but think about this.
If he's healthy, he'll eat 200 innings.
You get the 2018, I believe it was 18, American League MVP, Mookie Betts. You had the 2019 National League MVP, Cody Bellinger, playing center and right field. Come on. Like, I don't
they
even know.
look dangerous. You know what it is, man? And, like, it's not even the Dodgers' fault. It's the Wilpons' fault. I hate the Dodgers. I hate them.
Did you hear?
I hate them.
I know. Well, I don't want to say I hate the Dodgers. Oh, you mean you hate the Wilpons? You hate the Dodgers?
I hate both of them.
Okay.
There's Dodgers legacy that I love, like Sandy Koufax, Jackie Robinson, the Dodgers history, the whole thing. Great, but I hate them
because the Wilpons.
Because they
them.
glorify them.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they've invaded our ballpark. It's I don't know if Scott and I said this on the podcast, but it's like I love the Giant 42 in Citi Field. It's great. It should not be how you walk into Citi Field.
That's fair.
You should be walking into Citi Field. You should see Seaver. You should see Piazza.
I agree.
You should see Edgardo Alfonso. You should see John Franco. You should see Keith Hernandez. You should see Gary Carter. That's who I want to see in the Rotunda.
I agree there.
Put the 42 somewhere else. It's a beautiful thing. Makes a great photo op. Hashtag 42 Citi Field. Whatever the fuck you want to do. But it does not belong
That's fair.
in that Rotunda. That belongs to our history.
It's tough for me to like say I absolutely hate it because I love Jackie Robinson. I love what he did for the game.
I'm not
I understand.
hating on
you're hating on
that.
Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
But you're hating the idea
that's how you
they're
walk into the
enshrining him.
ballpark.
Yeah.
If you want, I don't know. I don't even hate the fact they're enshrining him. He was a big piece of National League
But it shouldn't
baseball.
be the first thing you see.
It should not be the first thing you see. You
I
walk
agree.
into Citi Field, your childhood should smack you in the face.
I agree.
You know? Or the legacy of that franchise should smack you in the face. Not the Wilpons' favorite team's legacy. And I get it. It was National League baseball. But this is Citi Field.
Yeah, I
this
agree.
is our park.
It's nice. It'd be nice to see a little more blue and orange and not just a lot of blue once you walk in there.
And that's not the only thing. What about the New York Giants? What about Willie Mays? Why can't you do a Willie Mays Robinson Rotunda?
It is weird that but again, it comes
Because
down
they're
to the
fucking
Wilpons.
Dodgers
Yeah,
fans.
It comes down to Wilpons.
So they make me hate the Dodgers.
I can't say I hate the Dodgers personally because
I can.
No, with me
Fuck 'em.
This is what I like to say. Like if the Mets weren't here and we still had the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants, I would have been a Brooklyn Dodger fan.
How do you know that, Pat?
So my dad is from Brooklyn. He kind of
Was he a Dodgers fan?
my father. The only Dodger my father knows is fuck. I don't even know.
I know.
That's
I'm messing around.
I know. I
can
can just
listen. I got family. My family comes from Brooklyn too. Actually, my dad's from the Bronx. My mom's from Brooklyn. That could have been interesting. But
you're also the only Met fan in your family, though.
My grandmother and grandfather.
I mean,
were Mets
immediate
fans.
family.
In my immediate family, yes.
Like your
I'm the only
brothers
Mets-
are both
my
Yankee
brothers
fans.
and my parents are both
Yeah.
Yankee fans.
So,
I'm middle child, black sheep.
Thank you. I know exactly. How
You too, yeah.
Middle child as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good summer.
It should be a very good summer.
Like I said, it's good when both teams are good at the same time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's good. It's because you know what it is. For me, sports so much, and let me know if you agree or disagree. For me, sports, at least among fans and friends, it's so much of it is about the shit talking.
Oh, absolutely.
So much of it is about the shit
Absolutely.
talking because it's safe. It's safe tribalism. It's safe barbarianism.
Yeah.
You know, there's really nothing on the line.
I mean,
in
there
sports.
are
There's
some
realistically nothing at stake.
There are some people who take it a little too seriously.
And you know what? They have something else going on in their
Yeah.
life. They have a void of meaning
Yeah.
that they're filling with baseball. Not that baseball can't give you meaning, but if I'm being honest, it really shouldn't be what gets you up in the morning.
No,
You should
no,
have
I
a little
agree.
something for yourself, unless
I
you
agree.
are a baseball player. But yeah, you get me.
I agree. But yeah, like you said, the shit talking is good, especially when both teams are running away with their respective
Well,
divisions.
that's what made 2006 so fun, right?
Yeah.
Is the Mets and Yankees were the two best teams in baseball.
Yeah.
You know, we both got robbed of our Subway Series, but That's what makes New York baseball so much fun. And I feel like that's New York baseball at its roots, right? You know, the Dodgers and Giants competing, the Dodgers and Yankees competing. Like, it was always about those New York rivalries.
It's always
Speaking of which, would you get behind bringing a third team back to New York?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't be behind it. I don't think it makes sense geographically.
What if it wasn't in the southern part of the state? What if you moved them a little bit? I don't want to say upstate because, Orange County is not upstate, but what if you put a team up in like Westchester, Orange County?
I don't think it would be sustainable.
You don't think it'd be sustainable?
I really don't, no. I think in terms of expansion, I knew, or I have a list, or I've heard of list of places that are still a possibility.
Well, tell me which ones you think are the most attractive or appealing.
In terms of expansion, where it could be?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Montreal, obviously, that's number one. Two that I've heard a lot of that a lot of people are interested in because it has a lot of baseball history in terms of like minor league or independent ball is Portland, Oregon.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
That would be cool. I've heard other people say Vegas, but I don't know how Vegas will really work.
Don't bring a team to Vegas.
I wouldn't do a team in Vegas. The mayor of Orlando is trying to get a team down there.
No more Florida teams.
No, that shouldn't happen.
We should get the teams out of Florida.
I agree.
Get them out.
I
That's
agree.
a good spring training state. A bunch of those people are Yankee fans anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Get everyone out.
I agree. I think those were the biggest spots that I've heard. Like Portland and Montreal are the two that I think would be perfect in terms of an expansion because they'll have the fan base. They are fans. Like, I don't know the exact history behind Portland and the love of baseball there. But from everything that I've heard is that that's a great city to have an expansion team there. Other places, like, people just try and name, like, big cities where you think that we could get something. Like, I think one that I heard was, like, San Antonio or New Orleans. Or you got to think geographically and, like, economically. Like, it's got to be able to fit. And I don't know if it necessarily fits in those two places. Maybe San Antonio, but I don't know about New Orleans.
I was going to say, I think San Antonio might make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, but I think if I had to pick my two expansion teams right now, it would be Montreal and Portland.
I would love both of that because it'd give me an excuse to go there.
Yeah, right? Like, who wants to go to Portland, Oregon for a random...
I mean, I might... For other reasons.
Yeah. But I mean, like, think about, like, a fan who's trying to see all 30 ballparks, at that point 32. Like, how often are people, let's go to Portland, Oregon? No. But now you get a team.
Well,
Portland,
cool
Oregon.
About
let's go see a Portland whatever game.
You know what could be cool about that, too,
see the city or
is
something.
you could almost road trip it up the West Coast for baseball.
Yeah.
You know, you could make a stop between California and Seattle and stop in Portland.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I think those would be the two.
You don't want to bring a team. You don't want to bring a team to the Dakotas.
I don't know why though. Like, there's no way it would be sustainable there either. But in reality though, an expansion's not going to happen until something happens with the Rays and the A's. No, I mean it's just they don't have stadiums. Oakland Coliseum is a dump.
It's a football stadium.
Yeah, and Tropicana Field is just shit. I mean, Katie, my lovely fiance, was at a
Hi, Katie.
Yeah, hi, Kate. Love you. She was at a Rays game, I think, last year. She went down when she was down visiting her grandma with her dad. She said that place is an absolute dump. Like an absolute shithole. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I want to go to all 30 major league ballparks. That's going to be at the very end.
I'm going to wait for that one to go away.
Yeah,
and
right?
Then I'll make my way there. What is your favorite ballpark that you've been to?
Well, unfortunately, so far, I've only been to 3 ballparks. Well, 5 if you include Old Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium.
Okay, let's include those.
3. My favorite, I mean, Citi Field is a complete upgrade from Shea Stadium. Shea Stadium, I got the memories, growing up there and everything. But in terms of like amenities and all that, Citi Field has it. Yankee Stadium, I still prefer the old Yankee Stadium to the new Yankee Stadium.
Me too, and a lot of Yankee fans do too.
Yeah, I agree. And then the other stadium that I've been to was Nationals Park. I've been there twice now.
Nice.
That's a beautiful stadium too.
I've been there too. It's really awesome.
That's a great stadium there.
It's up there for me.
I would love to try and get, like, if we're staying East Coast, some stadiums I would love to try and get to, like, as soon as possible.
You gotta get to Baltimore.
I gotta get to Baltimore.
You gotta get to Baltimore.
I gotta get to Camden Yards. I still haven't been to Fenway.
You haven't been to Fenway?
I haven't been to Fenway. I don't really care about. I mean, I have to see it because it's on my bucket list. But
bro, I went.
Bank.
I went to Fenway last year, and Citizens Bank. That's an easy ride.
Oh yeah, no.
Citizens Bank is an easy
in terms of getting there, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
In terms of wanting to go into Philly,
it's really not that bad. I've been to actually a couple Phillies games in my Mets gear at Phillies Mets games. It's really not.
And you haven't gotten like death threats?
The worst I got is the guy passing out water set up in front of me, and he was like, Waters, as water was like spraying on me from the bucket. But then he was like, nah, I was like, somebody's got a house to you. He was really nice. We started chatting. And it was a hot day, so cool me off. So honestly, I really think like Philly fans have just been like mythologized as absolute fucking monsters.
Like getting a bad rap in
when
general.
I think it's really just a few bad apples that people run into.
Well, yeah,
like, I went there and like no one gave me dirty looks. Like people were nice to me. Like,
but
go ahead.
That also goes for every fan base of any sport. Like
it's
some
true.
people would be like, I guess a lot of people could say, this fan base is total shit. But I'm like, maybe 20%, if that, are actually like that. The rest are probably like just quiet
people who want to enjoy the game. Like people are people. Like it doesn't matter, especially in this country. Like we're so much more similar than we are different. Yeah. Like the people in Philly are not that different than us Long Islanders.
No,
they're really not. We like the same things: meat, cheese, bread, and sports.
Yeah,
there's really not much difference between all of us.
Yeah, but I mean, other stadiums I would love to get. One stadium that I've been dying to get to is PNC.
PNC?
Pittsburgh.
Dude, I was there, I think 2 years ago.
I've been dying to get there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
See that.
Awesome. But I got to tell you, my two favorite parks, AT&T Park in San Francisco.
Damn, dude, that's another one I've been trying.
Amazing. Everyone should go to that park. If you're a baseball fan, you have to go to the park. My heart is broken because there used to be a cafe across the street from AT&T Park that had the greatest donuts this planet has ever manufactured. Yeah. But now that place has been, I think they're just under a new ownership, so it's a whole new thing now.
Before you go to your second stadium, one thing I would love to say, I love the stadiums that are like still in like residential areas almost, like a Wrigley Field.
Dude, it was a city corner.
Yeah.
It's like you're just walking in San Francisco and then like
you look up and oh shit, here's a ballpark where a professional baseball team
like
plays.
For those who are listening, think of how Madison Square Garden is like neatly tucked in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. That's a great analogy. I like that. I like that comparison.
The entire ballpark is tucked away in San Fran just like that.
Yeah. It's right on the bay.
Yep. It's so beautiful.
I love stadiums like that. Wrigley's another one I would love to get to.
I haven't gotten to Wrigley either. I got to get to Wrigley.
Kind of wish I got there before they did the renovations because like it could have gotten the old school feel, but I still got to get there.
Well, just go during a day game and you'll get at least some of that old school feel.
Day game works, yeah.
But it's between AT&T and Park and Great America Ballpark in Cincinnati. And here's the thing. Here's my thing. I was more enamored with the area surrounding the stadium. Inside the stadium is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Very well maintained. Beautiful looking field, but the area outside of it is like this entire fucking like campus.
Really?
It's like imagine a college campus for the Cincinnati Reds, like restaurants,
that's awesome,
gift shops, photo ops, statues. It's like this is entire and people are running around. It's just it's like a baseball. Great America Ballpark's a great name for it.
Yeah,
it's such a dream if you're a baseball fan.
I mean, there's so many ballparks that I've heard are just unbelievably like Busch Stadium, I heard.
Yep,
beautiful. They just put up new Globe Life Park down in Arlington for the Rangers. Heard the old one was nice. The new one is probably going to be just even more, amazing. Even though this is the most hated team in America right now, Minute Maid Park. They took out Tall's Hill and they installed a camera. But in seriousness, that stadium does look beautiful as well. I mean, a lot of teams in terms of their stadiums, they do it right, and it's a tourist attraction. You want to go and see them. I know, I personally, my life goal is to get to all 30 ballparks, or if we expand, 32, or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. That's my goal in life. That's on my bucket list. That's something I would love to do. I've been to 3 so far. Still have a lot more to go, but I'll chip away at them.
Let me know if you ever want to do a road trip back to Baltimore. I would love to see Camden Yards again. If you want,
how many stadiums have you seen?
Okay, so I've got. Let's not counting the old Yankee and shit.
No. 30 right now.
Right now, Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, Fenway Park, Great America Ballpark, PNC Park, Camden Yards. What's the Nationals Park? Help me out.
Nationals Park.
It's just National. That's why I can't know it, because they don't have a fucking sponsor. So Nationals Park. Okay, that's 7. AT&T Park. That's 8. I think that's everything. Hold on.
Did you say Fenway already?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think I said Fenway.
All right, so we'll stick at 8.
Let's just stick with 8. Let me just get one last. Oh, and Phillies.
Citizens Bank.
Citizens Bank Park. 9. This is why.
Shit,
I paused.
you almost have a third of the way there.
I'm almost a third of the way there.
I got to catch up.
Any East Coast teams I'm forgetting? I've not seen. Oh, and Atlanta. I made it to Atlanta.
Old or new?
New.
Really?
Yeah, when I lived in Charleston. I don't know. I never know the names of these parks. I know it's Brave Stadium to me.
Yeah, I forget the actual name, but that's a nice stadium.
But when I lived so nice.
They did.
I do know they had where I wore all my Mets gear to a Mets Braves game, and maybe it's just the Southern culture. They were so polite.
As long as you're not a dick when you go to these other stadiums and you're in opposing teams' gear or just any kind of gear, how often are they going to give you shit?
Well, you know what it is? It's like for most of us, right? The love of baseball unites us beyond our love of our teams.
Yeah.
I was in Atlanta, and people saw I was in Mets gear just sitting among all these Braves fans, and the people around me just started asking me questions like, where are you from? You from New York? Oh, shit, baseball. Oh, your team's looking good. Oh, that Syndergaard guy's really good. Just exchanging conversation like that. Again, for most of us, our love for baseball transcends our love of our teams.
Yeah.
And like
that's what it should be.
And this is going back to what we started with. Yeah. This is what Manfred and the league do not understand.
Right.
This is the part of the game they do not understand.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, I've been to 10 ballparks.
I gotta catch up, man.
I'll do some repeats with you. I'll tell you this. Can I tell you? I gotta be honest. I was not impressed by Fenway.
Really?
I mean, wasn't.
I guess
it was all right. It was
just
cool.
Historically,
the
was
ballpark
great. Has been there for over 100 years.
That was the cool thing, but like that novelty wears off by the third inning, and the seat is too small. The seat is too
really?
Damn fucking small.
Nah.
Dude, I sound like such a dick. I sound like such a dick.
No. I mean, but that's how I was when I went to Nationals Park. Like, yeah, we sat and watched a little bit of the game, but a lot of time we were walking around. Like, we were trying to take everything in. They had the nice bar out there in center field, which is really nice.
I'll say this about Fenway. Like Great America Ballpark, they had a great little community around the ballpark.
That's one of those instances where it's just nestled in the heart of, I wouldn't say the heart of, but like just there in the city. You walk out your apartment, you make a left. Oh, look, it's
right fucking there.
Yeah, it's the Green Monster. I mean,
that's what's crazy. I visited my friend Brian Laurenti, if you're listening. I visited him when I went to go see Fenway, and we walked from his apartment to Fenway.
Yeah.
And it was just like a normal walk. It's like if you and I walked to Stop and Shop right now. You cross a few streets.
I love stadiums that are like that.
Me too. Because I think that's the spirit of baseball.
Citi Field doesn't really have. That's not Citi Field.
No, that's not Citi Field. It wasn't even Shea Stadium.
No, it wasn't.
I think that's just not how New York parks were built. Because Yankee Stadium isn't like that either. It's a little closer.
They have that, but they have like a little park, like not far.
If I was the Mets, I'd develop that whole area on the east side of the field.
Supposed to. What they wanted to do is they add like I don't know if it was necessarily or if they wanted to do it or what I had heard, they wanted to add like a shopping center. Maybe not shopping center, but like something like that.
They're trying to
bars and restaurants and everything like that.
And they have a few of those, mind you, around there. Like they got like a handful. But it should extend down the block.
But they're within. But those restaurants and such, they're within. Like McFadden's. Yeah. That's in Citi Field.
Technically,
that's not outside of Citi Field.
That's a good point.
Which would be nice to have because now we're just done with the game.
Well, because then we don't. Because then
McFadden's is crazy. Let's go to one of the bars.
Because check it. Let's say there's a day where it's too cold for us to tailgate. We can go to one of the restaurants. We can go to one of the bars. And then. Oh, hey guys, it's game time. Oh wait, I got to finish my drink. That's okay. We'll go in the second inning, something like that. They
should develop it, but again, it's the Wilpons, and they're not going
to put the money in
because they don't have the money because they turned down $2.6 billion.
And they got caught in the Bernie Madoff pyramid scheme, and why Major League Baseball did not step in and ask them to sell the team after that, I'll never know.
The fact that they still haven't stepped in is shocking. But
they are obviously they are deep seated.
I think Selig was close with the Wilpons.
Wilpons are close with everyone.
I don't get why. But
it's got to be a legacy.
Manfred was just basically like, "Don't fuck up my legacy." Selig said to Manfred, "Don't fuck up my legacy." I mean,
Selig, for what it's worth, it's like he caught a lot of flack for the steroid scandal, and that whole thing.
I think when it comes down to it, though, this sign stealing scandal is going to be worse than the steroid era.
To me, it already is.
Right.
Like, to me, it already is.
I'm glad.
Steroid scandal. We were talking about the home run record, not championships.
Yeah.
Not that what Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds did wasn't impressive or good for the game. In many ways, the McGwire, Griffey, Sosa year, the home run race in 1998, revitalized the game.
Yeah. No, it did.
I'm not trying to take that away from them.
No, after the 94 strike, the
which was the Expos' best year.
Oh yeah, they should have won the World Series at that. They got screwed at that.
It's the Canadian conspiracy.
Shit. But yeah, after the '94 strike, baseball attendance and such was going down, and steroid era occurred, and everyone's hitting home runs left and right. You got McGuire and Sosa doing what they do,
trying to break records.
Bonds comes in a couple years later. Like, it saved baseball. Now, and just like if you look back, actually, almost the serious scandals that have occurred in MLB history, something big has saved baseball after that. You had the Black Sox scandal in 1919. Who came in after that?
Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth saved baseball. Everyone loved Babe Ruth. He was breaking all these records.
Well, home runs were like such a rarity. But
that was a dead ball era. Yeah,
if you went to see Ruth, you could see a home run.
Yeah. Then you get the steroid era, the '94 strike. You have the steroid era that saved baseball there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of like backwards. Like the scandal was what saved baseball, but still something big happened and it was saved by something. Now we have the sign stealing scandal. I mean, I don't know if it's going to, destroy baseball like those other things could have, but it's going to be on everyone's mind, and it's considered at this point one of the bigger scandals that we've seen.
Well, because it involves a championship.
Yeah.
Like, when we talk about the '94 strike, that didn't take away a championship or invalidate a championship. When we talk about the steroid era, that didn't really invalidate a championship because all the championship the Yankees won in that era, they were facing plenty of steroid using players. So it didn't invalidate any championships.
I think now what we're going to see with the way the ball has been juiced, like all these home runs, like I'm not going to lie, that's people kind of like people want to see home runs.
As long as everyone's playing the same game, that's what I'm saying. I don't care. Juice the ball, don't juice the ball. I don't care. As long as and I feel like that's the way everybody feels. I feel like that's what makes this Astros thing so controversial. Is like I don't care. Like, people who look back on the steroid era, at least the ones I talk to, they don't care.
I don't care
We
anymore.
still love Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
We still love all those memories, As long as everyone's playing the same game. But when you have a team like the Astros who are taking an obvious advantage over the other teams, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't care that the ball is juiced so Pete Alonso can hit 50-plus bombs. Why? Because the ball's juiced and Aaron Judge can hit 50-plus bombs. Neither Aaron Judge or Alonso have the advantage. They're hitting the same fucking ball. But when you have one team that's stealing signs, that's when things go wrong.
I mean, this is really going to go down as, like you said, one of the biggest, not conspiracies, but biggest scandals in MLB history because according to several reports, several teams went to Manfred or went to their front office and be like, yo, you got to check. They're doing something. And do I think the Astros are the only team doing this?
Absolutely
Probably not.
Absolutely not.
But they're stupid enough to get caught, and now that they've been caught, but with banging of a trash can, I still can't get over how
I can't
no
how
one picked
dumb
that up.
that is. How dumb that was.
Like
how
the
dumb
buzzer.
that was.
I don't know if the buzzers thing is real. I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
I'm inclined to believe it is.
Yeah.
But sometimes I could fall into a conspiratorial mindset. So
I know, me too.
I'm just going to put my cards on the table with that.
But
one.
I mean, I just lost my train of thought. Just like thinking about like how stupid banging of a trash can, but it worked too. Like that's but no one heard it. Thank God for John Boy.
But that's the thing. They knew though. Like who's the third base coach who knew? There was a third base coach on one of the teams who knew and was like kind of making jokes about them stealing signs.
I forget
to kind of get back at them. But anyway, it's like they knew. It's just baseball has a thing about trying to bury. It's like Selig knew about the steroids.
Manfred probably knew about this long ago, but he's like, fuck, I can't ignore it anymore. Now I have to do something.
Well, because, you like to think you get away with it, right? Because Manfred doesn't want to be known as the guy who oversaw the cheating scandal. So he's like, well, maybe this will just fucking go away.
It's not. Oh, that's kind of what happened with Selig, though. He'd look the other way and be like, what's that? They're doing steroids, but attendance is up and we're making a lot of money. Okay, I'm going to look this way.
But here's going to be the difference is none of us got robbed with the steroid scandal.
No.
None of us got robbed. The Mets had steroid users. The Yankees did. The Diamondbacks, the Angels, the Giants, they all had them.
I'm not saying everyone did it because that's not true.
Definitely
but every
not.
team had one at least person who was on something.
Without question, every team had at least one player who was juicing. But the problem with this is Yankee fans are never going to let this one go. Because they were plain and simple robbed of.
In a sense, they really shouldn't because this
they should not let this go. They were robbed of a pennant. This got in the
way
of championships.
The Dodgers were robbed of a World Series, something that they've been seeking since '88.
Much as I hate them, I have plenty of sympathy for them on that.
Yeah, I mean I'm still shocked that this has happened, everything, all the reports and everything that we've seen. The new report that came out either today or yesterday that Beltran was indeed the mastermind by the whole thing, the godfather of all.
Some people have come forward and said and that, let me tell you, that breaks my heart.
But now that
breaks my heart.
Now it's a good thing that we parted ways, fired Beltran, because
breaks my fucking heart.
Had he still be in it now, it would be even worse for the Mets.
And I have to be honest with you, and I said, it's funny because this news came out between my last podcast with Scott and this podcast with you, and I said with him that Beltran, even with all of this, was still one of my top 3 favorite Mets. But if that is true, that he really was the driving force behind all of this, I can't say that anymore.
No, it's
bro, the game, integrity's real. Integrity's a real thing. I can't believe it because he just doesn't. At least when he was a Met, he never seemed like that guy.
Yeah.
He seemed like the humble guy. Like, do you remember in 2006 when he got off to a hot start and he hit 2 home runs in a game, and Julio Franco was trying to tell him hey, go do your curtain call, and Beltran was like, no, I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything. He just seemed like this humble guy who just wanted to play the game the right way, and that assessment obviously could not have been any more wrong. And it breaks my heart because I did used to love watching him play. I used to love his defense. Yeah. His swing, at least from the left-hand side, was perfect. He
is one of the best position players in Mets history.
I'd say he was the best center fielder in Mets history.
I agree.
At least in his prime years with the team between 2006 and 2008. But now it's just like everything else with this Astros scandal, it's just a fucking stain. And it's I can't look away from that.
Yeah.
I can forgive Bonds much easier than I can forgive Beltran. Maybe I'm only saying that because the wound is fresh, but I can forgive Bonds way easier than I can forgive Beltran.
I'll end it on this. It looks like that called third strike in 2006 set something off in him because he never wanted to be surprised by a curveball ever again. I mean,
it's good. That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. It must have set something off on him, and it's a shame because you know me. I'm a big man about the hero's journey. I'm a big man about redemption arcs.
I was there too.
I really believed this was going to be a great story with Beltran. He was going to break through the first threshold, end up in the belly of the beast, and rescue his father from the underworld. Come back into the new world with the elixir and save the city. But no. No, it was quite the fucking opposite. He never got out of the belly of the whale. He was the whale.
Yeah. I think it's good, though, that they Mets, like I said, quote-unquote, parted ways when they did.
Part ways, no.
Otherwise, it would be the PR disaster that they've had all year, all offseason.
And the players don't deserve it. I don't think the players were going to respect him.
No, because now it's their time. Spring training is here. It is the players' time.
We're not here to talk about Beltran. If he was here, that's all we'd be fucking talking about. It's all the press will want to talk about.
Yeah.
It was the right call, without question, to get to part ways with him.
Yeah.
But look, it wouldn't have mattered what we did. We could have won 3 World Series in a row, and people were just going to look at it. People were just going to look at it like, well, Beltran was the manager.
Yeah.
And, so look, we have to wrap this up. We've eclipsed over an hour.
Oh yes.
But we have a little bit of time. I'd say we have a few minutes. So I want to give you the mic like I give to everybody. Take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, spit into the mic what you want the world to hear. Let them know where they can find you. Let them know what's coming up at the end of the bench. And the floor is yours.
Yeah. Basically, what's coming up right now, we got spring training starting. Like I said, my MLB predictions have begun. I started with our hometown teams and their divisions, AL East, NL East, just to kind of kickstart everything. Currently working through the remaining divisions, so be on the lookout of that at the endofthebench.com. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Milano Cookies with a Z 56. You'll be able to. I'll be tweeting all season, all spring training. I'm just excited. Baseball is back, and just please continue to be a fan of the end of the bench, because what Scott and we all do there is, like I said, we're fans, and we just want to get our opinions and everything out there. And I thank Scott every day for allowing me to be a part of it, because if I didn't have this, I would just be talking my fiance's head off, and she would probably kill me at some point. So it's a good thing that I have this outlet so I can express to the world.
Yeah, so. and I think it's incredible what you guys are doing at the end of the bench. You guys are growing.
We are.
You at least, like, the last couple months for you guys have been astronomical.
We've
and I hope it keeps going.
I do too. And now that baseball season's begun, we're gonna have a lot more stories. At least me personally. Sooner or later we'll have NBA playoffs. That's where Scott's time to shine. We'll still have the XFL. We'll see how good the Guardians do. We'll see how the XFL turns
Yeah, I'm sad we didn't get into the Guardians, but maybe I'll have you back in here when we make the playoffs.
That's going to be nice.
We'll talk some Guardians
there
playoffs.
You go. That sounds good to me.
Hell yeah. But we're going to wrap this up. Thank you to everybody who's been listening. Pat, thank you for coming on, dude.
You.
You know you're always welcome. Motherfuckers, we'll catch you on the next one.
Take care, guys.
All its galaxies, and forever and ever and ever, whatever it is beyond that. What you might call God in the Western tradition, or Brahman in Hindu philosophy, or Tao in Chinese. Every one of us is really that, but we are pretending we aren't. And we are pretending with tremendous skill and deception. Who are you?